Wido.
Okay, come lend us a hand here! Yes, sir! I'm Shuzo Inoue. I have my reasons. And now, I work and live at the construction company my friend Keita manages. I never thought this would happen to me. I used to own a dessert shop called Patisserie Siutan, which I took over from my father a while ago. It was our tradition from when my father owned the shop to bring the leftover cakes to the orphanage after we closed. Here! I brought you some today, too. Sorry they're leftovers.
Wow, thank you!
It looks yummy! I want this strawberry cake.
Bringing leftovers was just an excuse. We actually baked extra. Our business might have been struggling, but nothing could be as precious as the smiles of the children. Pretending like we were doing fine, we never stopped donating the cakes. But when a large mall was constructed nearby, it was clear that fewer customers were visiting, and our sales were dropping. And as a result, I had to close down my shop. To pay back my debts, I had to give up my shop, which I also lived at as a mortgage. Luckily, I was able to pay back all my debts with that, but I had no place to work or live, and I moved in with my friend. One day, I became part of a construction project of a patisserie. I was feeling excited after a long time, and when I got a glance at the construction plan... Huh? What's this? Hey, did the client agree to this? Of course. What's wrong? It's gonna be really hard to move around the kitchen if we follow this plan. It looks pretty inconvenient, but are you sure we can follow this plan? But as long as it's drawn in this plan, we can't just change it without permission. Hello, I'm Kyuchi, the chief of this project. Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to work with you. About what you just said, could you tell me in more detail? Yes, sure. Shuzo, please explain. It turns out, it was Mr. Kyuchi's first time leading a construction project, and he was struggling with a lack of knowledge. I shared with him my opinion, based on what I knew. You must be right. Actually, I was worried if my plan made sense, and I almost got persuaded by the architect to just go with it. You know a lot about kitchens at the patisserie. Do you have some experience in the field? Oh, yes. I used to be a patisserie owner. It's embarrassing, but I closed down my shop due to financial difficulties. I see. If so, could you give me some advice? There aren't many shop owners around me. Am I really fit to give you advice? Of course! I'd really appreciate it. Since then, Mr. Kyuchi would visit us often, and listen to my advice very seriously. And... thanks to you, I got to construct a shop I like. Mr. Kyuchi's shop successfully opened. Something surprising happened a few months later. I thought Mr. Kyuchi came to visit just to thank us. Mr. Inoue? I heard you're just helping here as a part-time worker. Yes? Then could you come work at my shop? Huh? The advice that you gave me was really helpful, and I'd like you to give me more in the future. Please, come work with me. But... good for you, Shuzo. I was starting to think you'd take up too much space here. Keita... I was surprised by Mr. Kyuchi's sudden offer, but I couldn't just depend on Keita forever. As I thanked Keita for his kindness, I decided to work at owner Kyuchi's shop starting next month. It's been so long since I wore a chef coat. I'm nervous. Huh? Mr. Inoue? Oh, owner Kyuchi! Thank you for having me. Is there anything wrong? Oh, I must look different without my beard, and you may not recognize me. It's been a long time since I wore this too. Do I look weird? No, you look great. Huh? Do I look that weird? It's an honor to be able to work with you. Thank you for coming to work with us. I'm looking forward to your cakes. Huh? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, I guess everyone's here. This is Mr. Shuzo Inoue. He gave me a lot of advice when constructing this shop. He's the most experienced among us. I want us to learn from each other. Yes, sir! Mr. Kyuchi was young, but he was a famous rookie who won numerous awards, and he already had some students learning from him. They would be my colleagues from then on. They're all younger than I thought. I came here prepared, but I'd probably stand out among these young colleagues. But making pastries and desserts was as fun as I remembered. But not only had it been so long since I was a chef, I only knew the old ways of baking, which I learned from my father, so it wasn't easy to catch up with the new techniques. The right-hand man of owner Kyuchi, Mr. Taniguchi, especially disliked me. Huh? You can't even do that? I'm sorry. You probably had to close down your shop because you're like this. It's gonna be hard to bake the trendy pastries for an old man like you who can't adapt to change. Yes, I'll work hard.
Taniguchi?
Yes, sir?
Have you ever seen the shortcakes Mr. Inoue bakes? The way he cuts the strawberries placed on top? That's pure art. You better have him teach you the skills, not to mention the taste. That's the original and the classic.
Yes, sir. I appreciated owner Kyuchi for protecting me, but that also made my colleagues jealous of me. One day, the CEO's daughter, Nanami Sawada, whom owner Kyuchi had known for a long time, was going to get married, and she asked us to bake her a wedding cake.
It's a good opportunity, so we'll have a bake-off. If you're confident about it, make us a sample of the wedding cake. We'll have Miss Sawada taste it, and bake her the one she liked best on her big day.
Owner, let me try!
Okay, Taniguchi. Any other volunteers? If Mr. Taniguchi is competing, there's no way we can win.
Mr. Taniguchi is definitely gonna win. I was listening to their conversation, thinking that made sense.
Mr. Inoue, I'd love it if you gave it a try.
Huh? Oh, me? Owner, why are you so obsessed with this middle-aged guy? Our shop has a great reputation, but it's gonna be a nightmare if Mr. Inoue's old-fashioned styles get associated with this patisserie.
I'm not obsessed of anything, and you need someone to compete against. Or are you afraid to go against him?
No.
What do you say, Mr. Inoue? Would you warmly accept this newbie for this once?
If he insists, there's no way I can refuse. Yes, I'll give it a try. Then do you mind if I share my idea?
What is it?
The chef of the chosen cake is going to be the second in command, the sous chef of this patisserie. If you weren't chosen, you'll have to quit the shop. How's that? Huh? Then that means I'll have to quit for sure.
I don't mind. But are you sure about it, Taniguchi?
Of course. Oh no. Why?
Okay, it's decided then. If you need any information about Miss Sawada, come ask me directly. I'll provide you with as much information as I can. Okay, go back to work.
Gosh, maybe I agreed too fast. But it was too late to regret my decision. And it had been so long since I'd been a chef, but it wasn't like I wasn't confident with my techniques I'd gained over the few decades. Alright, the man, Shuzo, is going to do this! From that weekend, I planned to start baking my cake borrowing the kitchen, but Mr. Taniguchi and his friends had already been using it. The cake that was almost done was tall, and the decorations using chocolate and candy were absolutely beautiful. As expected! No one else could come up with this design! He's really great. Now that I had seen his cake, I thought and thought about what cake I should make. But shortcake is a classic. It was what I had learned from my father, and I was confident about it. If I couldn't win with this, I'd never win, no matter what I did. I'll just have to do my best. And on the big day of the taste test, my cake was the classic traditional shortcake using strawberries. When the other colleagues tasted my cake that I prepared just for them, whoa! The sponge is soft and on the sweeter side. The tanginess of the strawberry stands out. He used the whole strawberry to decorate, so it looks fancy from the side as well. The decorative cut of the strawberries on top are great. But isn't it a bit too simple? On the other hand, what Mr. Taniguchi made was... Wow! Look! As expected from Mr. Taniguchi! I don't want to ruin the design by eating it! The cake was decorated with candy sculptures, and the design was innovative and fancy at the same time. It looked like an art piece. The cake used bitter chocolate, pistachios, and liquor, and the flavor as well as the color had a calm, mature vibe. Wow, it tastes fancy too! It's Mr. Taniguchi's style! Yeah, it's a sophisticated flavor. Looks like I'm losing. And it was finally time for the owner and Miss Sawada to give it a taste. Miss Sawada probably preferred the cake by Mr. Taniguchi from the fancy way it looked, and she decided to try his cake first.
Can we really eat this? It makes me reluctant to eat, not wanting to ruin the design. There's quite a lot of liquor in there. Not too sweet and delicious.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He's really confident. I guess I did lose against him in terms of fanciness. Next was my turn. Miss Sawada didn't say anything looking at my cake, but...
This?
Huh? Is she crying?
Who made this cake?
What? Did she hate it so much? It's me!
I knew it. Uncle! Your kind eyes haven't changed at all.
It looked like Miss Sawada knew me, but I didn't recognize her.
Most importantly, this cake. The flavor and the shape of the strawberries. It's just the same as before.
I knew it, Nanami. You recognized it just by a single bite. I was surprised too. I never thought I'd meet the person again in my life who made me want to become a pastry chef.
What do you mean?
Actually,
The owner and Miss Sawada grew up in an orphanage, and they used to eat the cakes brought in by my patisserie when they were younger. There were barely any snacks at the orphanage, and they rarely got to eat any sweets there, but...
Don't cry. Here. They bought us this cake from Sotan.
yes! It's so good!
It's delicious.
I want to become a pastry chef one day!
The cake, with a gentle sweetness made using my father's secret recipe, made the children in the orphanage happier than anything else. After that, owner Kiyuchi pursued a career as a pastry chef, and with his talents, he quickly grew famous despite being young. Miss Nanami Sawada joined the orphanage after her parents passed away, but she soon was accepted by her relatives, who she hadn't been keeping in touch with for a long time, and she grew up healthy, now preparing for her happy wedding.
You can't imagine how much your cake supported us. Sutan's cakes would make us happy no matter how sad we were. I can't express enough thanks.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier. I thought you might be the one when I saw you wearing your chef coat for the first time. But I didn't get the chance to tell you. And I didn't want people to misunderstand that I was going easy on you because you were special to me.
I see. I'm happy to hear that the children were able to feel a bit happier eating our cake. Really.
Your cake was wonderful, Taniguchi. I bet many would vote for you. But before we decide whether it's good or bad, it's important to be considerate of your client while baking. And Mr. Inoue came to ask me about the preferences and personality of the client, Miss Nanami Sawada, numerous times. On the contrary, Taniguchi, you never came to ask about the client's preference or personality. I bet you were very confident in your skills, but that could also be your weakness.
What?
And I'm not sure if you should look down on people based on their age or appearance. Your arrogance can ruin your skills and techniques.
Owner? What's this? The winner was basically decided by owner Kiyuchi in the first place! I've had enough! I'll quit this place! Oh, Mr. Taniguchi! Are you letting him go?
Yes, I was starting to think we had different goals as a pastry chef. He has skills for sure, so I bet he'll find his own way.
Although he said so, the owner looked somehow sad. A few months later, as planned, I had the honor to bake Miss Nanami Sawada's wedding cake. Because it was a wedding cake, I didn't change the cake itself, but I made it look fancier using colorful edible flowers. I drew faces on the strawberries and decorated with messages from the guests to make it look special.
Wow, so cute!
Can we eat these flowers? Kind of feels sad, but I guess I'll eat it anyways.
The shape was also simple, so it was easy to distribute it among the guests. And the guests seemed to like the cake a lot. You must be the pastry chef she was talking about. I heard you took good care of Nanami at the orphanage. Thank you very much. They were the current parents of Miss Nanami. No, it's fine. Without Miss Nanami, I might have not continued my career as a pastry chef baking cakes. I see. But it looks like your cake brings people happiness. Just like how it is today. Thank you for the praise. On the other hand, after Mr. Taniguchi trained at famous patisseries, he won numerous awards and became a famous pastry chef. He even opened his own shop and became the center of attention in the patisserie industry.
They're so good, but a little too pricey.
It's nice to eat once in a while, but the flavor is a bit too overwhelming.
He attracted attention with his fancy, gorgeous cakes and flavors, but people quickly grew tired of it, and his sales went down in no time. I heard his shop closed down within a year. No way. The cakes that I made. Why? After he closed down his shop, it looked like he finally understood that making cakes for awards and making cakes for customers was different. I heard he's diligently training again from the very basics as a famous patisserie. He's a skilled chef. If he can learn the classic techniques added with his fancy styles, I bet he'll become a wonderful pastry chef. And in my case...
I want to order a birthday cake.
Yes, what kind of cake do you want? My dream is to make my customers smile through the cakes I bake. At owner Kiyuchi's Patisserie, I continue to bake the classic but original cakes you can only find here.